Welcome back. Today is a backstage tour day. I thought that I would show you the backstage tour of Antigone. Now, this is the third Greek tragedy that I've ever designed, but this one has some really interesting features, and so I'm going to walk you through. We're going to take a look at how we do the Greek columns, how we do these interesting kind of Greco-Roman doorways. So I want to show you basically how all this stuff was put together.
This is a creative idea share that you can watch from there to help you be aware. You can even watch it in your underwear. A creative idea share.
The way we do the Greek columns are by using sonotube, and that is those big giant concrete forms, and these are big ones. So these are 16 feet long, and they are 16 inches in diameter. And the great thing is we use these again and again. So it's kind of like they're cardboard, but they're better than cardboard. But basically, these are the things that make big, giant concrete columns, like in parking garages or anything like that too. It's maybe hard to find, and we had to drive a distance to get these. We had to take a trailer to Savage, Minnesota in order to pick these things up. We got them like 20 years ago, no lie. They are just one of the most useful things in our theater department as far as scenery devices. We've used these for so many different plays, and what we've done is, okay, in sonotubes you get these ribs, you know, you get the things that look kind of spirally. So you have to be careful how you light them. But there are many different ways to dress them up. And so we actually have taken muslin, that's just a very common theater fabric, and we've wrapped these in muslin. And then we've coated it with things like joint compound and flex glue, or you could use a sculptor coat coating or Roscoe Flex. There's different kinds of products out there. I'm probably misnaming them too. You can just coat these things and try to take away, and it does diminish the weird spiral ribbing that's on these sonotubes. But since they're 16 feet tall, a lot of people have been asking, how do you support these things? Because we don't have them wired, they're not being hung by the catwalks or anything like that. So these are going into the platforming. So really what's showing here is about 13.5 feet of column. The other 2.5 feet are going through the platform. So basically we've cut a circle into this platform that I'm on, and then we insert these big giant column tubes, and then we build up the bases. I think one fun thing that adds a little bit of interest, if we want this to look like a ruin, what we did is we did cut one of these columns off. It was a little heartbreaking to do that because, like I say, these have been so useful in our department. But then you get this cool ruin. And so this is the top of that column. Makes it look like this thing tipped over. We've got one column roped to another, making it look like it's there for stability. And then here's this big giant capital that fell off and is now, just a really interest piece, I guess, right here on the stage too. So that's how we handle the columns. Oh, and you can paint them to look like whatever you want. So these were painted marble, and then we aged them with like soot, like there was a fire. What ruined this place? I don't know. Let's leave that up to the audience's imagination. And so we get this kind of cool weathered marble column sort of look. Okay, so we fully recognize that our bases and the tops of our capitals are not Greek architecture, but we made these out of concentric circles with MDF. We basically made a circle jig with a router and then put concentric circles together to make this stack. And that was a way for us to be able to mass produce them quickly. And then we painted it all marbly and then aged it too. So just black paint out of a spray gun gives you kind of this, like, what happened here? What ruined this place? And was there a fire? Was there a battle? That kind of stuff. So here's the back view. And there you can see the sonotube just going right through the platforming. And again, the top is just made out of MDF. And then MDF on the top here too. And then we just faced it with Luan, like that's Luan, MDF, MDF, sonotube. Since we do have one column that is leaning down, I should give a little bit of attention to this feature. And this is basically, we made a base for one of our columns that is just broken up. And again, too, it's painted like it had fire on the bottom. But honestly, we made an extra one of these. This is MDF. You can sort of see that it's MDF. And then we just threw rocks in there, you know, broke it up. And then we, Phil, my scene shop supervisor, created this really weirdly interesting, you know, I think some of these were just some found shapes that we had from scraps in the shop. And he made this broken up base, and I really, really love it. And then he broke the base, and then we just threw some rocks in there. And so it just sort of creates the crazy illusion that this whole thing really did break and tip. Doesn't look like it was built that way, and that's important. Okay, and then we've got these interesting doorways that are kind of Greco-Roman. We wanted them to be a little bit nondescript, so it didn't matter to us that this was not necessarily architecturally accurate to the period, but it did match our columns. So we've got these little capitals that are just made out of EVA foam and foam rope. And I'll show you a little bit more of how we made those things. This is PVC, and it's the cheap PVC. It's drainage thickness, so you know it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. And then this is just a box made out of 3/4 inch plywood, and then we face it with masonite so that it looks smooth. And then this is just a box also made out of plywood, and then we used crown molding, commercially available crown molding that we could put on the top. Man, you dress that up and you paint it right, and it looks ancient. And again, as always in theater, this is the side that the audience sees. The audience doesn't see this, so why face it? Why even paint it? And then I'm just showing you here that this is just 3/4 inch plywood clad with 1/8 inch masonite for what the audience sees. That gives a nice smooth surface to paint on. And then this is just a 1x8 box, and this is EVA foam. And this is foam rope. You can see that this is cushy. Okay, quick sidebar on how I make the bases and the capitals for the PVC columns. I take the same kind of PVC. Again, this is drainage PVC, so it's very thin, very flexible, pliable stuff. I want to basically cut a gap into, I cut whatever height that I want. I think this is 3 inches. And I cut, I don't know, a small gap, and that can depend on however thickness it takes to be able to put it onto the side of this. So now obviously this is flexible. It can come on and off of this PVC like that. Okay, this is what EVA foam is. This is EVA foam right here. EVA foam is, you can get this at your local hobby center, and it comes in big rolls. I don't have a big roll in front of me right here, but this is a schnibble that I cut off. I glue this onto my PVC piece, which is also flexible. And then this is caulk backing or foam rope. It looks like this, caulk saver. But it's, what do they say, polyfoam backer rod. Anyways, you can get that at your home center too. So if I make this and then put this on top of there, now all of a sudden it looks architectural, even though the whole thing is flexible. So now, once I have that whole thing glued together, like I guess mine kind of looked like a cake, I can now just slip that whole thing onto my column, like so, and all of this will bend along with the PVC. That was probably more explanation than you needed. But anyways, the nice thing about that is I've got 12 of those now because I got 6 columns, so I got one for each top and one for each bottom, and I can keep those. So whenever I make columns out of PVC, I'll have these. So boom, you know, instant Greco-Roman doorway. So that to me is the easiest way to make Greek columns. And you know, if you guys found this useful, helpful, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, this is A Creative Life. My name's Pete, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.